Hi, this is Saamiya Zulfiqar and you're watching Social Sciences. In this video, we're going to talk about history of anthropology. Anthropology traces its roots to ancient Greek writings about human nature and the organization of human society. Herodotus is taken as the first thinker to write widely on concepts that are central to anthropology. Herodotus wrote a book on history in which he explained culture of various people of Persian Empire which are conquered by Greeks. He referred to Greece as the dominant culture of the West and Persia as the dominant culture of the East. This type of division was further adopted by the anthropologists when they tried to create a clear division between white people and the other people. Ibn Khaldun is considered as the earlier writers of ideas related to anthropology. Ibn Khaldun, in his book Muqaddimah, he talks about how civilization evolved through social conflict and generational evolution. Khaldun examined the environmental, sociological, psychological, and economic factors that affected the development and fall of civilization. Both Herodotus and Khaldun produce remarkably objective, analytic, ethnographic descriptions of the diverse culture while using second-hand data by travelers. Travelers have always been fascinated by the seeming strangeness in the behavior and beliefs of people in other places. Marco Polo, perhaps the most famous traveler of the 19th century, wrote to his Italian relative of his amazement at the manners and morals of Chinese court. Modern travelers leave their 747 with camera in hand, ready to record on film the landmarks of their destination and the dress of its inhabitants. Underlying this widespread curiosity about the culture of other peoples and an equally widespread desire to understand the meaning and significance of physical and cultural variety. Although people have been asking the same basic questions about the differences between cultures for a very long time, the answers which have been proposed in the past have differed dramatically from those which are now offered. Most of what we now believe to be true of the development of mankind was discovered in the last 100 years and much of it only in the last few decades. The history of anthropology's development as a science is closely tied to the changing views of men's cultural history. During Middle Ages, that is 5th to 15th century AD, when people started raising questions of human origins and cultural development, biblical European thinking treated these questions as issues of religious belief and promoted the idea that human existence and all of human diversity were the creations of God. In 15th century, European explorers looking for wealth in new lands provided vivid descriptions of the exotic cultures they encountered in Asia, Africa, and America. Explorers lacked the knowledge of the local language that led to unsystematic and biased observation as well. The story of modern anthropology really begins around the middle of the 19th century. Before that time, European thought was dominated by the traditional teachings of the Bible and the Christian church. According to these authorities, all things in the universe, ranging from the lowly rocks to the heavenly angels, fit into some predetermined niche in the great chain of being. Furthermore, according to this view, the entire world and every species of plant and animal in it were created by God in one masterful stroke some 6,000 years previously. Challenging these long entrenched ideas was not a small task, and it was not until the close of the 18th century that a number of courageous men dared to take up the questions of human progress and the perfections of man's condition on earth. European Age of Enlightenment, that is 17th to 18th century, marked the rise of scientific and philosophical thought. David Hume, John Locke, and Jean-Jacques Rousseau worked on the nature of humankind. Their works are based on philosophical reasoning rather than religious authority. David Hume and John Locke consider that human knowledge derives from experiences. Rousseau claims that civilization corrupts the real goodness of human beings. He discusses about the origin of civil society, which is based on the ownership of land, and then it leads to the formation of laws, and he considers the laws as selfish and unjust ones. He says that man was born free, yet everywhere he is in chains. Enlightenment writers also lack first-hand experience with non-Western cultures. During the second half of 18th century, we find the fundamental concept of anthropology well formulated by rationalists who preceded the French Revolution. Rousseau's ideas remained the topic of discussion for a long time. Intellectuals debated on the relationship of the culture of primitive man to our civilization. Before, explorers on the waves are the only source of information about other cultures. With the rise of imperialism, Europeans came into increasing contact with non-Western cultures, which prompt new study interest in culture. Global commerce, capitalism, and industrialization forced Europeans to invade in exotic foreign lands for source of labor and goods. Several European countries took over the administration of foreign regions as colonies. In response to these developments, first immature anthropologists formed societies in the 19th century. These societies eventually spawned professional anthropology as well. Anthropological societies aimed to scientifically study the colonies and their cultures. Anthropologists, physicians, zoologists wrote detailed descriptions of physical features of the colonies, and towards the end of 19th century, anthropology became an academic discipline. Theories related to biological and cultural evolution started a new era of modern anthropology. In the coming videos, we are going to discuss about these biological and cultural evolutionary theories in detail. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel.